Hello, my name is Lori Beggs, and I am a return student currently working toward completing my second bachelor's degree in organizational leadership with Texas A&M University Commerce. This is my video project for Capstone 2, Org L 4361 for Dr. Mary Hendricks. This video presentation will cover my experience in leadership prior to entering the Org L program, my experiences with the coursework, and what I thought was notable from each course, how I view my leadership knowledge now, and how I want to use this knowledge for the future. Prior to deciding to return to school for the organizational leadership program, I had already been in a mid-level management position for some years. Prior to that, I was a zookeeper. I completed my first degree at TAMUC in 2006 and discovered quickly that what sounded good on paper wasn't quite right for me in practicality. I had no great passion for the field and ended up not seeking work in it. I did, however, become a zookeeper for 4 years, and from those 4 years, I learned exactly what not to do as a leader. People outside of the profession think, hey, you're a zookeeper, that's great. You get to work with cute animals all day. But when in actuality, it requires a massive amount of process management that just was not in place where I was. When I left the zoo, I decided I wanted to pursue a management position at my secondary job. Going into the training program, I didn't have an idea of how complex the program would be, but I'm eternally grateful that I was able to do it. That program was the initiation of my passion for effective leadership. I completed the program and then set forth in managing 2 brick-and-mortar retail locations, which in itself is like a zoo. When you hear that there's no substitute for experience, you are hearing the truth. What I learned in the program prepared me for the frenzy that is management. When the company I worked for closed in 2016, I found myself profoundly sad that I had dedicated my life to this company and that they were gone. With that opportunity behind me, I've had to refocus what I wanted out of my career and then refocus it again once my son came along in 2017. I never saw myself having a child because prior to that, my career was my focus. My son coming along was the greatest experience for me because it opened my eyes to that I needed to get myself back to school and to learn. The whole experience took what I thought I knew and just threw it right out the window. When I started my coursework for the organizational leadership program, I had never really sat down and assessed who I was as a leader and who I wanted to become. I knew that I wanted to be a manager with the ability to lead. I knew that I had a husband, a very young child, and I wanted to be competitive in the world, not only to create opportunities for myself, but to show my son what can be accomplished even if not in the traditional way. I am glad that my first class was Issues in Organizational Leadership because it started the conversation in my mind on what I wanted out of the role of leadership. I learned that I am undoubtedly a decision maker, but I need to work on my communication. It also gave me the beginning dialogue framework to understanding leadership definitions and theories. Before this class, I don't think I could have told you what the difference is between a manager and a leader precisely. This class helped me to understand the idea that leadership is not just one type of behavior and that it's complex. Therefore, the issues related to organizational leadership are complex. The 2 courses for data-driven decision-making scared me at the beginning. I am an analytical person by nature, but numbers make me very anxious. Starting into the coursework, I realized it wasn't so much about just numbers, but about hypothesizing and then proving or disproving, depending on the goal. I learned that a theory without data to back it up could put you way off your mark. I learned that data drives all, which is not surprising. In my previous work, financial analysis and other metrics were a daily occurrence. I enjoyed learning to let my analytical tendencies work to my advantage when it came to understanding KPIs. The 2 classes for behavior, ethics, and leadership were really enjoyable for me. Ethics and human resource management are areas I want to pursue. career-wise. It is extremely important to me that ethics are observed in the workplace. I have seen what can happen when strong ethics are not applied, and it is chaos. I enjoy this area of study because it deals with the relationships between people and their organizations on a level other than what is just good for business and how they all go hand in hand. From a business perspective, I appreciate the study of behavior in different scenarios, such as the ethical dilemma of the Ford Pinto project. It seems that in the workplaces today, the need for ethical action is at an all-time high. We see it so many times now in the news and on social media, and particularly in politics, how a leader or organization has caused an unethical issue and how those actions trickle down and affect the rest of the structure. These two classes gave me great insight on how to proceed with an ethical mindset. For leadership theory and leading change, I struggled with these two classes a bit. I had performed something like a SWOT analysis in my previous work, but the idea of analyzing a company that I'm not part of was difficult for me. Once I went through the courses and worked through a SWOT, I learned that using this type of blocked analysis makes it easier to see some issues and opportunities in an organization, kind of like a formal pros and cons list. From there, it's easier to create objectives. From what I learned from studying strategic management, a leader must be proficient at setting objectives, so the tools taught in these two classes enhance my ability to manage strategically. I can see how utilizing the workbooks keeps things step by step, which makes the information easier to break down and analyze. All in all, while it might not have been my favorite area of study, it was beneficial. Throughout the year in completing my coursework, when I got to Capstone 1 and 2, unfortunately this year had taken a big toll. So beginning these two classes was difficult for me, as I was not in the best possible headspace to make it through. However, if I've learned anything from studying leadership, is perseverance is the name of the game. I normally enjoy a class style that involves formal tests, so capstone classes with essay projects are definitely a struggle for me. I learned that I still have to work on my procrastination tendencies, which can only be exacerbated by stress. I am thankful to have such an understanding and supportive instructor for the final push. It is nice to have these two classes to show how the coursework culminates and to see how far I've come in the program. Throughout this process, I have valued the knowledge gained from the coursework and instructors. I have learned that there is no right way to be a leader, but that leadership is a fluid, multifaceted process. I learned that imperfection can be perfect when in the right situation. I have learned that throughout all of this, I wish to be an authentic leader. I think in this world, showing up and being real and involved with people is something that should be strived for. I learned that I favor the ethical side of human resources and would probably feel more at ease in that role or in that field. I think that it is also important to remember that there isn't an experience that can't be learned from, either positively or negatively, and that for me to be an effective leader, I must be able to look at past failures and divine the good from them. For instance, letting go of my zookeeping career and the company that I work for closing were all experiences that can help me in leading others. What does the future hold for me? Right now, my goals are fairly nearsighted. The most pressing goals are that I find employment in HR or something similar so I can utilize what I learned in the Orgel program and to build more experience. I'm also considering going for my master's in management, but I'm not sure on if this is the right move to make given my current circumstances. To that, I have learned firsthand that there isn't any age limit to learning. So even if a graduate program isn't in my immediate future, it could be down the line. I'm excited about the possibilities for opportunities in the future. I am excited to try to put my stamp on the world and maybe make it better for my son's generation. Thank you for allowing me to be part of the program, and I look forward to once again being an esteemed alumnus of Texas A&M Commerce.